Things like this usually don't happen in a community like ours. It's very tragic.
Investigators release autopsy reports today for 8 members of an Ohio family killed execution style.
We begin tonight with a deadline that has passed for the mother of 2 missing children from Rexburg.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and if you're new here, we talk about all things true crime related. In today's episode, we are back with an update on the Crystal Rogers case, and things are really moving along. Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson are both at trial right now. We're discussing day 1 as Kentucky pushes forward for its fight for justice. If you've been following along, you'll remember that Stephen Lawson, Joseph's father, was found guilty at the end of May. He was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence in connection with Crystal's case. The jury recommended 17 years for his sentence, but his official sentencing is August 6th. Now, a quick recap of this case for those who didn't follow along or are new to this case. Crystal Maria Rogers was a 35-year-old mother of 5 when she disappeared on July 3rd, 2015. She was last seen by her live-in boyfriend, Brooks Houck. According to Brooks, they spent a few hours at his family farm on the evening of July 3rd, leaving about midnight. He said once they got back to their home, he went to bed while Crystal stayed up with their son playing games on her phone. The next morning, on July 4th, Brooks said that when he woke up, he found just their son in their bed and Crystal was gone. But according to him, this is not a big concern. He told police that she had left before like this. It wasn't until sometime later, when no one had heard from her, including her children, that Crystal's mother, Sherry Ballard, reported her missing. Now, if you find these updates helpful and you've been following the case with me, please make sure to give this video a like. It really helps the channel and keeps the coverage going. Now, as with the Stephen Lawson trial, there are no cameras or phones or even laptops inside the courtroom, meaning I will solely be relying on news reports to provide their notes on what they saw in the courtroom. I am reading everything I can, putting it together, and laying out the trial as best I can for you guys. Remember that while we're covering this, I am a mother of 3. Thankfully, sports have definitely slowed down a lot, but my daughter turns 8 today. She's my baby, and she turns 8. She's in school while I'm recording this, and when she gets home, it's going to be about her. So I'll try to get these out to you as fast as I can, but, we'll see how it goes. But let's jump in. As a reminder, Brooks is currently facing charges of murder and tampering with evidence in connection to Crystal's disappearance. Joseph Lawson, the son of Steve Lawson, is charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence, just like his father. Now, during Steve Lawson's trial last month, we learned a lot of new details that had not been made public before. But one thing has remained unchanged. Crystal's body has never been found. Now, before I dive into everything, I want to remind you, and especially if you're new here, tell you I'm not a lawyer or any legal expert. I'm just following this case just like anybody else and doing my best to present it to you as accurately as possible. But if I miss something or get something wrong, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always open for corrections. The goal is to get things right. So yesterday was day 1 of the joint trial for Brooks and Joseph Lawson. Steve's case was separated from theirs because there were some key statements that Steve made against the other 2 men, and there is no guarantee that Brooks or Joseph would be able to cross-examine Steve, since a defendant isn't required to testify at their own trial. That's one of the main reasons that trial was split. The trial was also moved to Bowling Green, Kentucky, due to the high-profile nature of this case. So day 1 began with a powerful show of support from Crystal's loved ones. Many of them wore pink in her honor, and Shay McAllister, one of the reporters that I follow for this, described it as a sea of pink. Brooks' family did also show just before court began. His mother, though, Rosemary Houck, one who was named an unindicted co-conspirator in the previous trial against Steve Lawson, was noticeably absent. She owns the 245-acre farm Crystal visited the night she vanished. However, in court was Rosemary's partner, I guess she's referred to as her boyfriend, and Brooks' sister Rhonda, I believe her name was, did come to show their support. I also saw that Brooks and Crystal's son, who was just 2 to 3 years old at the time of her disappearance, was in the courtroom today. It's hard to believe this happened nearly 10 years ago. The courthouse was packed. All 100 seats were reportedly filled. I really hope that Crystal's family was able to get the seats that they wanted. I know that there was some stress for them wanting to show support for her, that there would not be enough seats for the family members that were going. They did have some, I believe it was 25 provided to them, but they did have more than that going. Her mother was there, her siblings were there, her cousins, even her grandparents, who were Tommy Ballard's mother and father, were there to support her. In regards to court, we can touch base on who is who. So the judge is Nelson County Chief Circuit Judge Charles C. Simmons III. He's the same judge that presided over Steve Lawson's case. For the Commonwealth of Kentucky, there is Special Prosecutor Shane Young, who was appointed to this case. Then prosecutor Teresa Young and prosecutor Jim Lewis, then Brian Butler and Steve Sherowing are defense attorneys for Brooks Houck, and Kevin Coleman and Bobby are defense attorneys for Joseph Lawson. The judge started out by addressing the jury pool. There were about 132 potential jurors, and they were called up in groups based upon how they responded during the jury questionnaire. The first group, they hadn't heard about the case at all. The second group had heard of the case, and this was the largest group with over 40 jurors. I also heard there was about 55 in there. The third group said that they were familiar with it but had not formed opinion. And then the fourth group, they said that they knew about the case and had already formed an opinion. And this was the smallest out of all four, thankfully. We learned that there was around 50 potential witnesses who could be called during the trial, though that doesn't necessarily mean all of them were called. Some of the names sounded familiar from Steve Lawson's trial, including the two former employees from Brooks Houck, Charlie and Stacy, and then along with some investigators such as John Snow, who helped with the investigation. Now, during jury questioning, several people were excused for various reasons. One potential juror said her friend's son had been murdered and admitted that it would be difficult to serve on this case. Well, another worked third shift, so they were dismissed. There was another that was dismissed after discussing the fact that domestic violence would take place in this, as the relationship between Brooks and Crystal would be a sensitive issue. They were also dismissed. Now, prosecutor Shane Young also addressed a key part of this case. He told potential jurors that Crystal's body still had not been found and asked whether that would affect their ability to fairly judge the charges against Brooks and Joseph. One juror asked, "How do you know the victim is dead?" And to which Young replied, "That's for me to prove." Now, Brooks's attorney, Brian Butler, also weighed in during jury selection. He actually referenced the recent high-profile acquittal of Karen Reed and reminded jurors jumping to conclusions doesn't always lead to the right decision. Lawson's attorney really didn't say much from my understanding. He did point out that when the jury came in, he was in a wheelchair and could not stand, so it was not out of disrespect. And from what Shea McAllister reported, this reportedly came from an accident that he became paralyzed during, and this was obviously after Crystal's disappearance. Now, jury selection took up the entire first day, with it coming to an end as they were dismissed. The jury had been selected. Making up the jury was 8 men and 7 women. That's 15, so there were just 12 jurors and then a few alternates. Opening statements are expected to begin this morning, June 25th, and I'll go ahead and cover those in my next video, obviously. But that's all I have for the first day of trial. I know this is a shorter one. I'll be getting the next few days out as soon as I can. But like I said, my daughter's 8th birthday. Once she gets home, it's all on her. But I will try to get this out tomorrow, if not Friday. But don't worry, I will get it out to you guys. I do appreciate everyone's support. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share with a friend. If you're following on the podcasting app, I've had a whole bunch of new followers there. Thank you. Please make sure to follow. I do release episodes sporadically. They're not really on any type of schedule. It's just when I can get them out. So please make sure to hit the alerts on YouTube and follow on your favorite podcasting app. But until the next video, stay safe out there. The world's an ugly place.